Hey guys, it's Laura Page, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the VA appeals process. And it actually has gotten better, believe it or not, over the last few years, and that is due to the Veterans Appeals Modernization Act. And that was actually implemented in February of 2019. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the three options that it allows and which ones I would suggest and which I would stay away from. So those three options are now higher level review, the supplemental claim lane, and the old school veteran appealing to the board. And I'm not really going to go into detail about that option because I always use that as a last resort. Those are where kind of claims go to die. So I kind of want to avoid that if we can. So I'm going to talk about the first two options. Here we go. So the first option I'm going to talk about is the higher level review. And this is known as the second look. So what this does is submit your case as it was submitted initially. No new evidence is allowed. Again, I'll say that. No new evidence is allowed. So the best options in this case would be for those claims that were approved and underrated, or if they were denied and it's a blatant mistake. So these decisions are based off of a difference of opinion or a clear, unmistakable error. Now, many of you ask me, well, how do you fight back? How do you get to say your piece of why you think that you're underrated? Lucky you, there is an option for an informal phone call. So I definitely suggest to take that option. You'll have to pick a couple times on the form. You'll want to pick 2 times. And I do suggest to keep your phone on ring for the next few months if you submit a higher level review, because they can call at any time. So you want to make sure you don't miss that call, because they usually will not call back. So that is where you can take the opportunity to talk about, hey, look at my evidence on page XYZ. It explains here my symptoms and I am underrated based on the CFR, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in some of my other videos, the laws that the VA uses to rate decisions. That second option is a supplemental claim lane, and that one you must submit new evidence. So it's kind of the opposite side of the coin from that higher level review. So you can submit new evidence and you ask, what constitutes as new and relevant evidence? Well, there's quite a few things that count. One would be a personal statement. There's only so much that the VA can decide and see from looking at your medical records. So you want your voice to be heard. Tell them the details. Tell them how those disabilities are affecting your life, mentally, socially, professionally, and physically. So you want to tell your story and write a personal statement for anything that you have, because I always think it's important to be heard. Another thing that counts would be a buddy statement, either a witness, a spouse, a friend, somebody who has seen the impacts of that issue on your life or seen it happen firsthand. Those buddy letters go a long way, and they can validate some of these issues if there is an issue with medical evidence. Nexus statements are one of the best things you can get to support your claim, because that's a doctor's professional medical opinion that your issues were either caused or made worse by your service. The wordage that they use is more likely than not, or at least as likely as not. And that, coming from a doctor, holds a lot of weight. So we actually can get you in contact with the right people to get you evaluated for your issues if that service connection portion is the missing piece of that VA puzzle. Independent medical opinions are also another great option for new relevant evidence. If you get evaluated by a new doctor or get evaluated maybe for the first time, maybe you didn't have an official diagnosis and you knew you had an issue, but it wasn't on paper. If it's not on paper, it didn't happen. So everything needs to be recorded. So make sure that you get an opinion and a diagnosis if that's the missing piece of the puzzle. Also, sometimes the VA just doesn't have all the records that you thought they had. So if there was medical evidence that was not previously submitted, you'll want to get that in, because that could be the deciding factor in your claim as well. If you've been denied or underrated with your claim, these are the options you want to take a look at first to fight those decisions. And you may not know which route to go, what was the missing piece of the puzzle, and the best advice I can give on that is to take a look at your decision letters. Anytime the VA makes the decision on your claim, they will send you a decision letter, and they'll usually explain in there why it was denied and or why it was rated at the level that it was. So many veterans are afraid to do any type of appeals because you've heard the horror stories from your friends and your battle buddies that appeals take years, and that used to be very true. But these new systems, the higher level review and that supplemental claim lane, take on average 3 to 5 months. So it's still not an immediate turnaround, but nothing with the military really is immediate. So get that process started as soon as you can, especially if you've been recently denied or underrated. You have 1 year from your decision date to fight it and still receive back pay to the original intent to file. So that's huge. You don't want to sit on it. You want to move forward, keep fighting. Don't accept that defeat. If you would like me to go into a little bit more detail about how to fill out the paperwork, how to submit these appeals to the VA, I'm going to be making some more videos that go into detail about how to prepare for the Informal conference, how to submit the paperwork, how to fill it out, and how to make sure you have that full package before you submit. Because we don't want you to get stuck in the appeals process, because that can be the most frustrating part, that hurry up and wait. So I can make some new videos. Keep me posted with what you guys want to hear about, because I am here for you to make this process a little less scary, daunting, frustrating, all of those things, as I know personally that it can be. So let me know in a comment below what you would like to see next and what you need help with.